Glial cells, or neuroglia, are extremely important in the nervous system. While neurons are the superstars, those are the cells that conduct electricity, communicate, create the electrical grid in your body. Glial cells are quietly behind the scenes, supporting the neuron, performing supportive roles throughout the nervous system. There are 6 total types of neuroglia, 4 in the central nervous system and 2 in the peripheral nervous system. In the central nervous system, the 4 neuroglia are astrocytes, microglial cells, ependymal cells, and oligodendrocytes. Astrocytes, as the name implies, are star-shaped, and they perform many functions. They're sort of the all-around general personal assistant to the neuron. They play an important role in something called the blood-brain barrier. They interface between capillaries and neurons. They regulate neurotransmitter levels at synapses, that ionic environment around neurons, the sodium ion concentration, potassium ion concentration. So they're sort of just this general personal assistant to the neuron. Microglial cells are the immune cells of the central nervous system. For the most part, immune cells like macrophages, neutrophils, monocytes are not permitted across the blood-brain barrier. And so the central nervous system has its own category of immune cell, the microglial cell, that non-specifically can phagocytize invading microorganisms, viruses, fungi, bacteria, other cellular debris. Ependymal cells are unique cells that structurally bear cilia on the apical surface and microvilli on the basal surface of each of those cells. They are important in producing cerebrospinal fluid and then circulating that CSF in the ventricles. When we get to the brain topic, we're going to see that the brain has these ventricles, these fluid-filled spaces. The fluid is cerebrospinal fluid. It's a unique fluid that is located within the central nervous system, inside the brain, in the middle of the spinal cord, and then bathes the surface of the brain and spinal cord. And it provides buoyancy and protection to the very delicate tissue that makes up the brain and spinal cord. And so the ependymal cells play an important role in that CSF production and circulation. The final neuroglia of the central nervous system is the oligodendrocyte. Oligodendrocytes myelinate the axons of neurons in the central nervous system. Now, the myelin sheath is this fatty substance that surrounds axons. Myelin increases the electrical transmission rate that neurons are capable of. Now, there are neurons that are unmyelinated, but there are also neurons that are myelinated. And the ones that are myelinated transmit their electrical impulses more rapidly than the ones that aren't. Specifically, oligodendrocytes myelinate axons in the central nervous system. On the next page, we'll discuss the process of myelination in more depth. There are two types of neuroglia in the peripheral nervous system: satellite cells and Schwann cells. Because the sensory neurons in the peripheral nervous system have a cell body that resides outside of the central nervous system, the satellite cell surrounds that cell body and provides nutrients and structure to that sensory neuron. Now remember, sensory neurons are unipolar neurons. So that cell body of the unipolar neuron is surrounded by satellite cells. Schwann cells myelinate the axons of neurons in the peripheral nervous system. They myelinate either those unipolar sensory neurons or the axons of the multipolar motor neurons. The myelin sheath of an axon in the peripheral nervous system appears to look like beads on a necklace or a string. These little individual units that then collectively create this myelin sheath. On the next page, we'll talk a little bit about the process of myelination.